Beat Newcastle tonight and we go 13th. Brady, get a risk assessment done because there's going to be some dizziness with that lofty league position. But more importantly, we go above Spurs and Man United. And yes, I know it's probably pathetic that is my aim between now and the end of the season. But I don't really care. It's fun. It'll be funny to finish above them. To have this crap a season and finish above those two teams, I'm going to enjoy it. But in all seriousness, if we do win tonight, we'll go 6 points behind Fulham, who are sitting in 10th. And it becomes respectable. It doesn't mean the season's a good season. It's still a terrible season. But in terms of damage limitation and Graham Potter doing a good job and taking over from Lopetegui, the closer we can get to the top half, maybe even finish in the top half, it seems unlikely. But we've got two decent fixtures up ahead after this one. We've got Everton, then Wolves after the international break. So it's perfectly feasible that we pick up 7-9 points in the three fixtures, including the Newcastle one. And if we can get up to the top of the bottom half or even creep into that top half of the table, it looks a lot better. And also financially. And I know people don't like fans discussing the finances as such, but it is worth between £2 and £3 million per league position. And if the club are as skint as they're making on, then we're going to need the money. And if you can go three places, we're not really in a position to turn down £7-9 million extra, because that's a player in the summer for Graham Potter. So a win tonight would be a boost. I do think it's a very winnable fixture. I'm really looking forward to tonight's game. I don't know why. Is it because I think we're going to win? Possibly. Is it because we've got nothing to play for per se, or do I think it's a good time to play Newcastle? Maybe it's just everything coming together. And it can't be put down to the fact that we're playing fantastic attacking football. We are not. I think what we are playing, though, is very effective tactical football, as we've seen in the last couple of games. I don't think the entertainment factor is going to be cranked up tonight against Newcastle. I think we will see much the same again. A very well organised, well drilled West Ham side. Tough for Newcastle to break down, and we're going to try and grab a goal on the break probably. It may very well be enough, because I think the pressure has increased on Newcastle coming into this one, because they've dropped down to 9th in the table. 9th, that is a significant drop off with everyone else playing first. And this is where there's a disadvantage to playing last on the weekend, isn't there? Where the other teams pick up results, and they didn't all do it. But arguably the best result for Newcastle is Man City getting beat. But there's a trade-off to that, which is Nottingham Forest were the ones that beat them and they stay in the top three. And then Spurs drawing with Bournemouth, so it stopped Bournemouth from pulling further ahead of them as well. But Brighton won, Chelsea won, Nottingham Forest, as mentioned, Aston Villa won as well. So when you look at the league table through a Geordie lens, it's still okay. They've got a game in hand to everybody, to Aston Villa, but you need to get points on the board. I've had a look at their fixtures for the remainder of the season. They're all right. They're a mixed bag. There are a couple of tough ones in there. A big one against Aston Villa, but they've also got a few fixtures in there where you'd expect them to win. But I'm loving the Champions League race this season, the Premier League. It's the only thing going for it. The title's done, relegation's done, so the only thing up for grabs is the European spaces, and the Champions League being that sort of big prize up for grabs. I feel like Forest have really tightened their grip on the Champions League spots, and good on them. I enjoyed that game. 1-0, a goal late on, but I absolutely enjoyed watching Pep Guardiola and Man City really struggling to come up with anything against a very well organised Nottingham Forest side. And, you know, the Nottingham Forest have got the lowest average possession in the league. How the tables have turned a little bit. Anyway, on to tonight's action. Be interesting to see what Potter does. And I hope he continues to treat it like pre-season in the aspect of discovering things. But also, if he has made his mind up, we see that play out as well. And there's two players that come to mind for that. First of all, there's Carlos Soler. There's reports that we've already decided we're not going to sign him. Now, we'll discuss that in a separate video, but for tonight, if that's the case, I hope we don't play him as much anymore. Use him as and when required, but I hope there's more focus going on to the players that will be here, because within the same report it was because of James Ward-Prowse. Now, it doesn't really marry up for me, because Ward-Prowse has come in and played, let's face it, a defensive midfielder role. That is where Ward-Prowse has been. He's been at the anchor of our midfield. Sol's been playing attacking midfield, so I don't feel like it's quite compatible in terms of the players and what they bring to West Ham, but nevertheless, that's the reports. So if that's the case, less of Solar, please. But also Evan Ferguson. Suggestions that Brighton wants 60 million, we've decided we don't want to sign him. And if that's the case, maybe don't focus on playing him as much. I would like to see Ferguson start, but only because Fulkrug is yet to be available. And I don't want to see Bowen up front anymore. I want to see him dropped further back into one of those number 10 roles, because he's done well. You know, he got his goal against Arsenal, but kind of got a goal against Leicester. But I want to see Bowen involved in playing more. We've still not seen the best of, he's been injured, granted, but we've still not seen the best of him under Graham Potter. And you get the best out of Bowen, you've got a bloody chance. It's as simple as that. And I want to see evidence that Potter can get the best out of Jared Bowen. It should be quite easy to do. I think there's loads of evidence there. He works so hard. He can play various different positions. But can you get him purring before the end of the season, so that next season we know we've got one of the best players in the Premier League? Because that's exactly what Jared Bowen is when he's on form, one of the best players. So I'm intrigued coming into tonight's game as to what Potter's going to do. I think there will be at most one change, and that will be Paqueta coming in, and I think it'll be for Kudus. So my predicted West Ham 11. Now, we're going to have a little bit of fun in a second. We're going to do something new on the channel for the first and possibly last ever time. But my predicted 11 for West Ham tonight would be, as it has been, Areola in goal, Todibo, Kilman and Creswell at the back, Wan-Bissaka on the right, Scarles on the left. I think he'll continue with Ward-Prowse, Alvarez and Thomas Souček. I think he'll continue with Bowen as one of the strikers. And I think he might bring Paqueta in for Kudus. He may go unchanged, and I think that's an easier decision, given that we won the last two games. But Paqueta was bloody good under Potter before his injury, wasn't he? I think he was our best player under Potter. I'm itching to see Paqueta come back in. He's got that case now creeping up on him. How's it going to impact him? We don't know. But I'd like to see Paqueta start tonight, because, you know, you speak about getting the best out of Bowen. Well, you get the best out of Paqueta, and we've been lacking creativity under Graham Potter and under Lopetegui, but that's done now. He's not going to be here next season. Potter is. So can we find a way of just being better? We've discovered we kept 2 clean sheets back-to-back. Areola, largely untested in both games. Good. Now we've seen the defensive side of it. Can you now bring something to the attacking side of it? More chances, better chances. I think Paqueta is the likeliest man to be key to doing that. So I'd see Paqueta in. So that's my predicted 11 for West Ham. Paqueta in for Kudus. A bit of a 5-3-2. And the reason I think we'll go unchanged in midfield is to match up with what Newcastle will do. I think they'll go with, well, if you're a patron, you'll know I've done my Newcastle predicted 11. But I think they'll have their 3 central midfielders in there, Bruno, Tonali and one other. And I think that's why we'll go Alvarez, Souček. My mind's gone blank. James Ward-Prowse. I think it'll be to match it, 3v3. Anyway, are you ready for something new? Let's do it. Hopefully I've remembered to edit out that gap in the middle and I've changed it over to this screen. Otherwise, this is going to be embarrassing. Anyway, let's do a combined 11. This won't be for everybody. So if it's not for you, now's the time you disappear. But before you go, please do drop a like on the video. But for those, I think, come on then. Let's see your combined Newcastle and West Ham 11. Going to give you 2 versions. Going to give you, well, let's talk you through. So Pope in goal. So first of all, I'm going to do if everybody was fit and on form kind of team, right? So I'm ignoring injuries and suspensions, and then what we will do is remove those unavailable for tonight's game and replace them. And I'm going to go with a 4-3-3. I appreciate that puts West Ham at a disadvantage, but let's do it. So I've gone with Pope in goal, because on form, I think he's the best goalkeeper that both clubs have. He's not even Newcastle's best goalkeeper at present, but just back from quite a lengthy injury, to be honest with you. However, I think his weakness is the same as Areola's weakness, and I think in terms of claiming high crosses, I think Pope is the best at it in the league. And in terms of shot stopping, I think he's, out the 4 goalkeepers available, he's possibly the best one out the 4. So an informed Pope in goal. Now let's go across the back 4. Lewis Hall at left back, because I think he's possibly the best left back in the league. It's him, Kirkes, or Robinson, isn't it? It's one of those 3, for me anyway. So Hall goes in. Next to him, it would be Botman, a top centre-back, just very unlucky with injuries and very unlucky for Newcastle as well, because when he's fit, I think he's incredible. And you do notice a significant drop-off when he's unavailable and he's replaced by Dan Burn. Next to him, now I'm going to be a bit naughty and put in Debo. And the reason I'm being a bit naughty is because we've still not seen loads of him at West Ham. But some players just look good. Some players are just classy. I know I've always maintained that sometimes you can watch a player 2 or 3 times and just know immediately they are a really good player. You don't have to watch them 20, 30 times to discover they're a good player. You might need to watch them that many times to discover they're a good fit for your team to go spend 15 million on. But I'm not buying today, bro. I'm just a gobby Scotsman on the webcam chatting about a combined 11. So Tadebo's the guy for me. Right back. Sorry, Newcastle fans. This is where I think we're going to agree to disagree. But I'm going to put Wan-Bissaka in, okay? Was a big fan of Trippier. I think his performance levels have dipped slightly. Although I think he's better now than he was at the start of the season. Livramento, I don't think it is as good as he was pre-injury. Post-injury, he's a top player. I've always been a fan of Livramento before the Geordies shoot me down. He's someone I wanted at West Ham. However, this man, Wan-Bissaka, has been fantastic this season. If Hammer of the Year was done today, I think he'd win it. He may win it in May anyway, but I think if Jared Bowen bags a few goals and assists before now and then the season, it's a bit of a popularity contest as well. As it's not really Hammer of the Year, is it? It's favourite Hammer of the Year for some people. Anyway, Wan-Bissaka is my right back. Into midfield, well, this is just Newcastle-ish, isn't it? Bruno Guimaraes has to go in there. Tonali has to go in there. The third one's a bit difficult because I know Newcastle fans will be saying, well, it's Joelinton. Well, I don't know, actually. We'll come back to that one. Up front is Isak because he's the best striker in the world, so there's literally no one West Ham can have that would be better than him. Jared Bowen over on the right. I put Gordon on the left. And do you know what? I'm going to put Paqueta in there. And I'm not being biased. Plus, I think that partnership of Bruno and Paqueta would be really good, by the way. But we're talking about on form. And someone says, Paqueta's not been very good for a little while. Yeah, no. And I appreciate I've cheated a little bit at right back because I've discarded Livramento's pre-injury form. Don't care. It's my video. That would be my combined 11 if everyone was available. But they're not all available, are they? So let's remove those who cannot play. Anthony Gordon, you're unavailable. Lewis Hall, you are broken. Out you come. And Botman, you are also broken. Out you come as well. That's it. The remaining players are available for tonight. So move to Debo over. It's between Shar and Kilman, isn't it? I prefer Shar to Kilman, so he can come in there. And let's put Debo into an unfamiliar position. Left back's interesting because this is where you could bring in Livramento, you could bring in Kieran Trippier, you could bring in Ollie Scarles, you could bring in Aaron Creswell. There's quite a lot of options. I would go Livramento. And I appreciate West Ham fans are now going to get... I'm basically annoying everyone here. And I'm not baiting. This isn't a thing. I know people would prefer Scarles, but I do think Livramento is just a better, more complete player at the minute. So I'd have him in there. Midfield does change, though. I did push Paqueta up here and bring in Joelinton. There's just not that many West Ham players at the minute that in midfield really stand out to me. I think there's an argument you could take Joelinton out and put in Souček or Alvarez, but I don't know. I'm a fan of Joelinton. I was a fan of Joelinton before he came to Newcastle, and then Eddie Howe sort of redeveloped him into a central midfielder, didn't he? But I think he's a bloody good player. So anyway, that would be my team from the players available today. From a West Ham perspective, it's a bit disappointing, really. But anyway, if you stuck around, thank you very much. Get involved in the comments below. Let me know your combined 11, and let me know if you're doing it from those available or you're discarding suspensions. And I'd be able to tell, really, because you'll have Hall in there, for example. Anyway, get involved. Thank you very much for joining me. West Ham, Newcastle tonight. I predicted a 1-1 in the preview show, but I'll be honest with you. I'm feeling a win. I'm going to change my prediction to West Ham 1 and Newcastle 0. I don't think it's going to be a thriller tonight. It's going to be a bit boring. But in the last couple of games, West Ham have shown we're quite good at being boring. I'll catch you in a bit. Just quickly, hopefully I remember to edit that bit as well. We're live tonight, 6:55. If you go into the game, enjoy it. Hope you have a fantastic evening. But if you're sat at home watching the game, come join us on this channel, 6:55, 5 to 7. We are live. Catch you then.